afternoon. My name is Margaret Mathieson. I have been a PhD student here at Herrick Lab since 2005. Welcome to this groundbreaking and celebration of the Ray W. Herrick Labs. Before we begin, there are several special guests that I'd like to introduce. Please welcome Vice President of Development, Lisa Calvert. And I would like to introduce the first gentleman, Christian Foster. Thank you both for joining us. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the president of our great university. She has distinguished herself as a world-renowned scientist, educator, and administrator, one who has broken boundaries throughout her career. Today, she is leading Purdue through record levels of student success and research achievements with a significant impact in the state of Indiana and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. France Cordova.
Margaret. Thank you, Margaret. Margaret told you a bit about me. I found out just a few moments ago that she's going to be getting her PhD shortly, and she'll be joining the professoriate at Marquette University. Congratulations, Margaret. She will truly launch future leaders. Well, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. For more than 50 years, Herrick Labs has been where it all happens as far as research and teaching. About 800 students have completed graduate and doctoral degrees and work here. In these labs, researchers have pioneered studies in noise and vibration control, thermal systems, and electromechanical systems. Today, we're beginning an upgrade and expansion to Herrick Labs, although I was told just a few moments ago that actually we began this dream in about 1999, but probably more about that later. So today we are really continuing that dream in a very positive, concrete way. This will ultimately double the facility's existing research space. Herrick's expanded capabilities will enhance Purdue's ability to address today's challenges, including energy conservation and indoor environmental health. As you'll hear, the impact of this expansion will reverberate throughout the College of Engineering and the university, and it will enhance the experiences of our faculty and students for years to come. The Herrick Labs expansion is now a part of a larger vision called the Life and Health Sciences Quadrangle, so it's seated in the midst of this vision. This newly designated area, which is bordered by Jiskey Drive and Harrison State and University Streets, will form a platform for interdisciplinary collaboration among engineers, physical scientists, and life scientists. And it's really extending, doubling the Discovery Park concept to have a particular focus on all the connections with the life sciences. The goal in bringing this group together is to set new directions for life sciences research and identify life-changing applications. Purdue researchers will study new methods to treat diseases, new delivery systems for drugs, and new techniques for human physical and mental wellness. And what's made it all possible is the generosity of our donors, and that's why we can do it right now. So let me give our special thanks to our individual donors, our foundation and corporate donors, the Ford Motor Company, Roger B. Gatewood, Gerald Hines, the Herrick Foundation, Cummins, Inc., and the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. And it took all of them coming together to make this happen. So thank you. Now I'd like to welcome two of our donors to the stage. First, please welcome Michael Distel, Federal Program Officer with the U.S. Commerce Department's National Institutes of Standards and Technology, better known as NIST. NIST has provided $11.75 million, or half the project's total cost. Mike, will you join me, please?
I apologize if I'm coughing like 100 times. Allergies are killing me. But good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here. Dr. Gallagher, the director of NIST, and my boss, Stella Fiotis, the selection official. asked me to read this for them because they weren't able to come. Congratulations on starting construction of the new Center for High Performance Buildings at the Herrick Labs. This is truly a celebration of the creation of a new research center that will develop knowledge, technologies, processes, and integrated solutions to enable high-performance systems related to built environments of the future. But even more important, it's a celebration of public good that can be done with investments in science and technology. President Obama and the Secretary of Commerce, Gary Locke, have made an expansion of the U.S. economy through investments in research in science and technology a hallmark of this administration. The research that will be conducted at this new center is an important part of addressing grand challenges related to energy, global warming, human health, and productivity. In the U.S., buildings are responsible for roughly 40% of the primary energy usage, 71% of electricity, 38% of the country's CO2 emissions. Furthermore, Americans typically spend over 90% of their time indoors, and about 20 to 30% of the occupants have some kind of health-related problems. For those of you that's probably never heard of NIST, we're the nation's measurement laboratory. Congress created us about over 100 years ago to help industry enhance innovation and competitiveness. We provide cutting-edge measurements, standards, and technologies that assure buyers and sellers can exchange products with confidence and support the U.S. academic and industrial research communities with tools they need to ensure measurement and data comparability across institutions. NIST provided $11.8 million of the funding for this building. What you may not know is that it was a brutal competition. I was part of it, part of the government side. There was 167 applicants. They asked for over $1.8 billion in support. And of those 167 projects, there was only 12 that got awarded, and this is one of them. That's no small feat. I don't know how you survived it from what I saw on my end. The funding for this project was provided by the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. NIST has run 3 grant program competitions, but it's received a significant increase of $180 million through the Recovery Act funding. The Recovery Act was passed to stimulate investment and create jobs, but it also has a longer-term purpose: to lay the foundation for future achievement and innovation by investing in fundamental research knowledge like the kind this facility will be doing. In short, there is no better example of the dual purpose of the Recovery Act than the project we're here to celebrate today. So really, congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. Actually, this campus has a very special other affinity with NIST. We have one of your previous directors on our faculty, Arden Bement. So we hear about NIST quite a bit, and we really appreciate everything that the agency does and what they're doing now for Purdue. So thank you. Next, I'd like to invite up to the stage John Wall from Cummins. John is vice president there and head of global and technical affairs. And I often see John in India as much as I see him here. Cummins, of course, is a real treasure for the state of Indiana and has provided $1 million towards this project. Thank you very much, John. Please join me.
And it was a little warmer the last time we were in India, as I recall. This is a really big day for Purdue, but it's also a big day for Cummins. Cummins has hired 1,000 engineers from Purdue over time, most of them mechanical engineers. Many of them have, many of them have come through the Herrick Labs or been touched by it, and certainly one of them is the Cummins engineer's favorite member of our board of directors, Bob Bernhardt. So we're very happy that Herrick has been able to make that special contribution to our company as well. You know, you might be thinking, what is it? What's the big deal about diesel engines? Why, you know, isn't that old technology? They've been around 100 years. What more can you do? The answer is quite a lot. If you look at transportation fuels in the United States, about 40% of the transportation fuel is being consumed by heavy-duty trucks and in the commercial sector. Of that, if you do the carbon to hydrogen ratio very quickly, that's a little more than 40% of the CO2 emissions from the transportation sector. So we're very interested in how we can improve the efficiency of these products. So there's a lot of work on the combustion side and exhaust after treatment to be able to optimize the system for better efficiency and still meeting other emissions besides CO2. We're also very interested on the renewable fuel side, being able to develop biofuels and alternative fuels that will reduce the carbon cycle that go through the products and also help us be more independent from oil imports. The Herrick Labs, we expect to really play an important part of that. But beyond that, Herrick touches every discipline that Cummins is really affected by. Not just internal combustion engines, but noise and vibration. We've had some very important projects there over time. Systems dynamics, system engineering, all of those come together as we're doing integrated design. Before there was interdisciplinary teams, before there was Discovery Park, before this whole idea of interdisciplinary work groups became such a popular and current topic, there was the Herrick Labs, where engineers from different disciplines could come, could learn to work together and put together designs that you couldn't do in a single discipline. As we integrate those together, whether it's an engine, a larger system, whether it's a refrigeration system, all the things that Herrick has touched and all the characteristics of those products. And so we're very excited about continuing to work with Purdue broadly and with Herrick Labs in particular, and we're very happy that the Cummins Power Lab will be part of the new Herrick Laboratories.
Thank
Thanks.
you, John. Thank you for Cummins' incredible partnership with Purdue in so many ways for the educational and the research mission, especially with the College of Engineering. Thank you, John. And now let me bring back up Margaret to continue with the rest of the program. Thank you.
It is now my great privilege to introduce Dr. Leah Jamieson, the John A. Edwardson Dean of Engineering. She's a member of the National Academy of Engineering, past president and CEO of IEEE, and co-founder of Purdue's award-winning EPICS program. With bold vision, innovation, and collaboration, she is leading Purdue engineering to have global impact. Please welcome Dean Jamieson.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you all for being here. It is really a pleasure to have such a wonderful group to help us with this really landmark step in Herrick Labs, landmark step for Purdue Engineering and for Purdue. This evolution and elevation of Herrick Labs. As you've heard from John, Herrick Labs has had an important history in Purdue Engineering, over 50 years of innovative research contributions, earning a worldwide reputation for excellence. This new facility will be 68,000 square feet, as you've heard, $23.5 million addition to the Herrick Labs. And it's going to provide not only much needed space, but also we know will be a catalyst for increased synergy and initiatives in some of these key research areas. The new opportunities are going to have an impact on the College of Engineering. They're also going to have an impact across Purdue. We're excited about the Center for High Performance Buildings. The results of work here will help design more environmentally friendly, safe, and energy efficient systems. The Living Lab is a truly inventive concept where researchers are going to be able to test and experience the impact of various systems through interchangeable and movable parts to build a building within a building, and then to look at what and measure what the impact of the design elements are, their impact on the environment, their potential impact on health of the people who are spending all their time in that building. John mentioned that Herrick has been interdisciplinary long before it was popular, and in reality, Herrick Labs, and in some sense the sister lab, the Laboratory for the Applications of Remote Sensing, or LARS, I think are the precursors to Discovery Park. These were interdisciplinary centers at Purdue long before Discovery Park was on anyone's radar, over 50 years old. Both of them, interestingly, collaborations between various fields in engineering and in agriculture. This continued emphasis on multidisciplinarity is evident today in the work that is happening in Herrick. Herrick is administered through our School of Mechanical Engineering, and I welcome Anil Bajaj, the interim head of Mechanical Engineering, here today, but brings together engineers from many disciplines in the research, in electrical and computer engineering, civil engineering, mechanical, and others. Our new architectural engineering program that is growing within civil engineering, but also disciplines across campus, including psychological sciences and speech, language, and hearing sciences, to study perception and response to stimuli that inform the system's design as we think about what buildings and vehicles and engines and all of these pieces of our everyday life are going to look like in the future. The collaboration we see in Herrick is an ideal representation of the College of Engineering strategic plan. It's called Extraordinary People, Global Impact. And it talks about how pieces fit together. One of the stories that we talk about in the context of the strategic plan is called Change the World at Purdue Engineering. And what we see both in the nature of the research, this bringing together of broad interdisciplinary communities, but also the potential impact of that research on health, on the environment, on energy, really is an exemplar for this commitment that we will change the world at Purdue Engineering. I would also like to thank our donors who are here today. We are grateful for the generosity and partnership of all of the groups who contributed today, but in particular, my sincere thanks to John Wall, whom I will note is also a member of the National Academy of Engineering, and we are, although not a Purdue alum, we're really proud of that, and we like to celebrate it along with you.
People think I am.
That's good. And Mike Distel, who are with us today. The contributions from NIST, from Cummins, are absolutely critical to our success. And so let me also thank you and ask to join again in thanking you for this. Mike mentioned briefly the intensity of the competition for the NIST funding, and I would also like to extend a great celebratory thank you to the Herrick team who wrote the proposal, who committed, who persevered, worked throughout the institution with partners, with corporate partners, but this incredible team of faculty leaders who brought this to being. So thank you. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Patricia Davis, Professor of Mechanical Engineering and Director of the Ray W. Herrick Laboratories. And I have to say that I cannot resist saying that on behalf of the Purdue team, with President Cordova here, with Patricia here, that there's some really wonderful women leading this institution.
Thank you, President Cordova, Leah, Mike, and John, for being here today to celebrate this great occasion. And thank you all for coming here too. This is a celebration of phase one of a project to rebuild and expand the laboratories. And it's been a long road to this point. And it's going to continue because we're moving forward to complete the remaining phases, which will be that of building the acoustics wing and also our technical support facilities as well. So here today, as we celebrate phase one heading towards construction, are, I hope, all four former directors of the labs. Myself, Ray Cohen, I don't know, is Ray, is he here? Good, Ray's in the back. and Bob Bernhardt. And Bob is now VP for Research at Notre Dame, but we won't hold that against him. And I hope in spirit, Bill Fontaine, the founding director, is here. Sometimes when we hear noises in the building, I think he really is still here with us. All 4 directors have been involved in developing experimental facilities at the labs. This particular project had its origins in a Herrick retreat under Bob's directorship, actually, and he challenged us to imagine our dream facilities. And we took those ideas that came out of that retreat, and they were incorporated into the mechanical engineering space plan that was approved in 2001, of which the Gatewood wing is part of that plan, and the renovation of Zucro and expansion of it is another part of that plan. Phase 1, the Center for High Performance Buildings at the Ray W. Herrick Laboratories, will support about 70% of the research in the labs. And the main underlying theme for this came out of Herrick faculty Jim Braun and Yan Chen's vision for high performance buildings. Jim is here somewhere. He's also at the back there. And Jan is actually traveling. This vision that they had, I believe, captured the imagination of the NIST construction grant reviewers, and also many of our donors, including 2 people already mentioned, who are leaders in the building industry. They are Roger Gatewood and Gerald Hines. At the same time that Jim and Jan were working on this proposal, Kathy Banks, who's the head of civil engineering, actually started an architectural engineering program at Purdue. And I'd just like to acknowledge the 4 wonderful faculty that they hired, who have been a great part of this project. They're helping us design the building, and they're actually part of the research team related to buildings at Herrick. And they are Thanos Sampalikos, Ming Qiu, Travis Horton, and Panyota Karava. I also wish to thank the Department of Commerce and NIST for the development and continuation of the construction grant program, and also the architects of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that has enabled the expansion of this program. This building will provide facilities that will enable research that addresses fundamental issues, enable the applied research that exploits that fundamental knowledge, and will enable the development and adoption of technologically advanced and sustainable engineered systems and products. At the heart of the lab's mission is the transfer of technology, and our relationships with industry have meant that our graduates have an appreciation of how to apply their research. They have seen how applications inspire fundamental explorations, and they have learned the importance of grounding themselves by comparing their analysis, their models and solutions to what is actually happening in complex systems. These experimental facilities enable us to collect data which inspires, guides, and validates our research. These experiments keep us honest. That connection to reality is what makes our graduates valuable to industry, and our graduates create the technology of tomorrow. Lab alumni Don Coates and Marion Pottinger and other lab graduates and soon-to-be graduates that are here in the audience I hope would agree with this. It's great to have John Wall here from Cummins with us today, not only because of the many ways that Cummins personnel have supported this Phase 1 project, including Tim McLean, who's helped us tremendously in the design of our engine test cells, but because Cummins is a company that sees the value of investing in university research and understands the broader benefits that those relationships bring. So thank you. Projects like the Center for High Performance Buildings are successful because of a team of people working together, everyone important, all contributing their different expertise. So in closing, I'd like to mention the constituents of our team, which is maybe a reflection of how difficult a building project actually is. So first of all, our alumni and donors, including the Herrick Foundation. The Herrick family is still connected to the labs after over 50 years. Kent, the great-grandson of Ray W., still does some research with Eckhard Grohl and Jim Braun and Travis Horton here at the labs. And Todd Herrick was the one who was the chair of the foundation when we received the $1 million gift from them. Mike Distel and Jacob's engineering team leading the construction grant program at NIST. That's an important part of this project. Of course, Herrick faculty, students, and staff, which includes our architectural engineering faculty. It's a great privilege for me to be the director of this group of people. They're such a great team. Purdue University architect, Larry Fasaro, and physical facility staff, including Bob Olson and Margaret Denau. They've not only worked on the project as it started here, but they actually helped us work on the proposal, and they've been invaluable to us as we have worked on this. From affiliated engineers and flat architects, Dave Serrano and David Black are here today. I think I see David Black up at the back. They're representing their teams who are back in Madison, I think, finishing up the construction documents. At least I hope they are. Yes. This would not have been possible without great support from mechanical engineering, as Dan Hurleman, our former director, and actually Anil Bajaj continuing that great support. And also the development staff. I'm so pleased to see John Sanderson here. John recently retired last fall. John has been working on the fundraising for this for quite a long time. And now also Laura Edwards, who's working with us now. So thank you so much. The College of Engineering leadership, Leah. Leah was actually part of the team that got the gift from Ford to do the perception-based engineering lab that was related to her speech research. And the whole perception-based engineering group have been terrific to work with. The lab started off as a collaboration between animal science and engineering, and we don't actually work with animal science anymore, but this collaboration with engineers and psychologists and hearing scientists across campus really shows that interdisciplinary research is really alive and well here still. Our Industrial Advisory Committee have helped us tremendously throughout this building process. Terry Mann, the chair, so wished to be here today, but unfortunately his mother passed away. But I know that Bob Perrin is here, Brian Joel from 3M is here, and Mary Wallace from GM also here. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank George Wadaker, our neighbor. We had to do some work out on the building layouts, and he and his team in biomedical engineering were very helpful, and we worked through that, and that was an important part of this project. Our research sponsors and those companies who've been working on gifts in kind, discounts, and free advice and facilities to support the new building and the research. These include Lutron, Conair, Carrier, Cybermetrics, Cummins, Train, Emerson, and Ford, and probably some others too. Thank you all so much for coming here to celebrate this event. Thank you for your donations and all your efforts on behalf of this wonderful laboratory here in the Midwest at Purdue University. And now I'm going to hand you back to Margaret, one of our most accomplished students.
Once again, thank you to all of our speakers. When I decided to attend Purdue for my graduate studies, my decision was based primarily on the reputation of the School of Mechanical Engineering and my interaction with my future advisors, Professors Braun and Grohl. I didn't know much about the reputation of Herrick Labs. In fact, on my first visit to campus, I remember being somewhat shocked to realize that the lab was built in an old barn. However, after touring the labs, I felt certain that they would provide me with the opportunity to not only engage in quality research, but also to have an impact through interaction with industry. I know that Herrick Labs will continue to provide students with outstanding research experiences that will only be enhanced by the unique facilities of the new building. I also know that Herrick Labs will continue to welcome new students with barbecues and opportunities for mentoring, that students will continue to grumble about cleaning the lab and preparing posters, but will benefit from the experience of presenting their research and interacting with our Industrial Advisory Committee. And I know that students will continue to experience an exciting blend of industry and academia at the biannual International Compressor, Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, and High Performance Buildings conferences organized by our faculty. When I leave Herrick Labs to begin my own academic career in August, I will take with me not only the skills that I need to succeed as a researcher and a teacher, but also the support of the faculty, the staff, and the students that have encouraged me throughout my PhD studies. As the new labs become a reality, I plan to visit often and collaborate with the Herrick faculty to take advantage of these exciting facilities. 6 years after my first tour of Herrick Labs, I recognize its true inner beauty. However, I look forward to the time when this building becomes a reflection of the quality of the research, the faculty, and the students that it supports. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite President Cordova, Dean Jameson, Dr. Davies, Mike Distel, and John Wall to come forward for the groundbreaking ceremony.
So we just need leadership here.
1, 2, 3.
This concludes our ceremony today. Thank you all for joining us. Please stay for refreshments and hail Purdue.